Howdy y'all. Today we're going to make a tool to push the sprockets back on the D4. Stay tuned. We've really been racking our brain on how to make a pusher to push these sprockets back on the D4, but we got it figured out. And this is the original Caterpillar method with their fancy press that nobody has, at least I can't get a hold of. And it's kind of got a telescoping piece, and it uses the end of the nut on the end of the shaft to press that on. And in here it says, in so much as the pressure applied against the sprocket is transmitted to the final drive bearing, it is important that the recommended pressure not be exceeded. So, we learned that the sprocket actually presses this bearing on the bull gear to that inner race inside the final drive. So, we don't have to pull against the bull gear and push against the sprocket. We can simply just push on the sprocket to push it on. So, we've kind of designed a idea. We have basically a coupling that's about the right size. It'll fit on the face of that sprocket, and we're going to weld some really heavy angle iron on each side, and it will come back here. A plate will be welded right there. Our puck will go right here to press on. This is our hydraulic puck. There'll be a plate that goes across here behind the nut on the end of the axle shaft. This is our sprocket, and then we're going to weld either put some bolts in here or weld some other angle iron or something here, and another push plate on the other end here. So when we pump the puck, it will push on the sprocket and pull on this axle shaft, and that will seat the bearing into that race, and it should take that. Now the book says 25 tons. I'm going to shoot for 20. I have a gauge on the pump now. I don't think it's really a good idea to exceed that, so that's about as far as we're going to go. And knowing what we know now, when we did take it apart, the one side on 7J was 18, about 18 or 15. The other side was at 32, which I think is way, way, way too much. So that's our plan, and we're going to get started building it. That'll be heavy enough, 3/8.
Yeah. Either way, 5/16 or 3/8.
And that'll weld on each side of this coupler. Let me get them cut. This is a sprocket for 4G that we're not going to use, but we're going to stick it up here so we can test fit and see how it's going to look. That way we can get our measurements too. We're going to have plenty of room.
Because I measure, see, it only goes on about another 1/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
Because I had a measurement there before we pulled them. This side was 0.190. So it doesn't have far to go to where it's on.
Yeah.
And then your bearing out here is what holds everything up.
All right.
Your bearing on your bull gear and this one.
All this is going to kind of preset the load on that bellow seal behind here in the springs of it and keep it compressed so it won't leak.
We're going to measure 8.5
from the end of that,
from the face of this.
Yeah. And that'll be the part that's pushing on the sprocket in the middle.
And you're going to butt against your backer plate.
Yes.
Which means it's pretty simple because we're doing a 1/2 inch of reveal. So we'll go here, we'll just set this at 1/2 inch and go back here to 8.5, and that should be it right there.
We decided to go to 9 inches to give ourselves a little extra room to unscrew the nut if we need to.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Now be sure you do there and then over here. And then I'd leave this on yet. You'd probably be okay.
Yeah. Got that side welded on there. I'm going to weld this side. We're going to make sure this is trued up and we have a perfect 180 from each other.
Oh yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
They're nice. Right on the money.
All right, I'll weld her up.
Like 4 7/16.
We're going to use this piece of AR400 as the push plate, and then these rods that we just welded on here, we'll weld onto that, and then that'll go against our puck so that we can press against it. And these don't need to have real heavy welds on them because the pressure is going to be against it. All it has to do is hold this plate in place. And this is 5/8 AR400. We've had a combination of the cleaner and my sweetheart wife have been out here working on this sprocket. And this is one we took off a 7J. It's going to be better than that sharp one that we had on D4. So we're going to get it cleaned up, wire brush it, clean it real good, and get a coat of paint on it. So it'll be ready to press on. The one we were going to use initially, we decided not to because it had damage to the rivets on the dust shield, and it looked like somebody had pounded it with a hammer and done some damage to the inside of the sprocket. And here's where I was showing that somebody had done some damage to this sprocket. I think they installed this with a sledgehammer and a punch. This is the one that took 32 tons to press off.
I want to save this gasket, if nothing else, for a pattern. There.
It was driving Dad nuts that somebody else was using his torch, so he had to come over here and get one cut in. Not a very good cut. Mine are all broke loose.
No, this is broke. That's loose. It's over here that it's holding. There we go.
There it is. There's the first part of our pusher.
Our nut's in here.
Yep.
And then our push plate puck is out here on our other piece.
Yep. We got her. Tell everybody what the next part of our plan is.
Well, this is part number 1. Part number 2 now, we'll cut this to fit. It fits in here against the end of the axle stub with the nut on here. Arms will come out, well, they'll be off 180 degrees
They'll be up here and
they'll
down,
be up
down
here
below.
And down here. They'll come out, and our push, we'll have another push plate back here and the puck here, which will pull against this nut and push against here, pushing our sprocket on.
Yep. Is it going to plan?
So far, we got phase 1 done.
Some of you might remember this piece with these bolts in here. That's what we used to pull off the steering clutch packs and press things on and pull things apart on the steering clutch. This will work perfectly for the other press plate on our press. So, the puck will go in between these two, like so. So all we need to do is make another plate to go in here. And if you're worried, Dad, what is the strength of these grade 8 bolts?
Supposedly the tensile strength of a grade 8, 5/8 inch, which these are, is 150,000 pounds.
So we should be fine with 20 tons, which is about what it took to pop off the steering clutches. So,
because 20 tons is 40,000 pounds. So we're talking these things will take like 75 tons before you could pop one apart.
So I think we're going to be good. And I remember those things were like 20 bucks each. So, all right, let's get to it.
So this will be our pull plate. And I've centered these holes that match here, here, and there. When we get that all lined up, all we have to do is cut these corners off here and probably here, whatever this distance is between here, so that this plate will go in there. Slide this onto our axle over there, put our axle nut on, and this will be the, this would actually be called the pull plate.
Right.
Because we're pulling against it.
Pulling against this and pushing against this.
Who sharpened that drill?
Maybe you.
That's a good one.
Where'd you learn how to sharpen drill bits?
I actually worked in a machine shop for about 2 months until I couldn't stand being inside, and a tractor come by one day farming. I could smell that burnt diesel out of a International 6-cylinder and fresh turned earth, and I says, I ain't gonna be in one of these the rest of my life.
And here you are. You went full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll just use this as our pattern, and
yeah, we'll
be good to go.
We'll just mark it with this.
If they fit. Moment of truth. Oh, we got one. Yeah, we got it.
It'll work fine.
I think so. All right, let's mark it, and I'll cut it with the torch. All right, we need to make it the width of the inside of that.
Right. Which I believe was 4 1/4, a little more. We're going to make it 4 1/4.
Let it cool for a little bit. That'll fit right in between there. So let's get it test fit. That'll go in here. Our ram will go in here. Push plate will go up here. 5/8 bolts. Like so. Push plate comes up here. Nuts will go on underneath here. And the beauty of making it like this is that we can adjust these by tightening these nuts. Can take up the slack to hold our press. We're going to test fit this. This is a sprocket we're not using. I'm going to take my nut off of here. It seems strange to me that you press this sprocket up against that bearing in that race in there, but that's what they do in the book, and that's how they do it in the CAT manual. So, got our pusher here. That's this coupling. It will push right up against that nice meaty flange right there. So that goes on first. I can leave it out here a little bit. So I can get this in here. And that's going to take this nut right here. And the way we made this is so we can get a good full nut full of threads. And this has only got to press like 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't have to go very far. Of course, we got to put our bellows seal and everything in there first. And we'll have to do some alignment when we do get this set. Next is our big push plate. Goes through here. Got a nut back here on this grade 8 bolt. These are 8-inch bolts. We could double nut them if we need, but the nice thing about it is we can take it apart, and we can also replace the bolts or change them if we need to. There it goes. Gotta wiggle it. Looks like it'll work perfectly fine. Our design's going to work. Everything's functioning properly. We just need some bolts that are 2 inches longer. Some 10-inch bolts and we'll be in business. And then our ram will fit in here. And then this will, there's room to slide this up and down for adjustment. It should be about right there. We'll have to hold it up, put a little pressure on it, and this will press the sprocket on. And this will be what it presses against right here, this big plate. I think we're in business. I think we got it. And I should clarify that longer bolts are for a longer puck for our press to go in here. Now I do have a 20-ton that will fit in here, but I don't have a gauge for it, and I'd really like to see how far we're pressing these on. So for perspective, before I get the bolts, this power pack will go in here. I just need the longer bolts and we're ready to go. The tool's built. When we get back out here working, we got the bellow seals figured out. We're going to install those and press on some sprockets. But that'll be on the next episode. I do want to thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for helping the channel out, and we'll see you on the next one. You come out here to tell us about cats? Yeah? How's your day going? Like you just finished it?